Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The reflection today continues from Rag Tilang, Bani Bhagtan Ki. The transition today is to Bhagat Namdev Ji from Kabir Ji yesterday. And this is a sabad of dependence, if you will. And like Kabir Ji, Namdev Ji also draws on Persian Arabic devotional vocabulary. Words like Kareem, Rahim, Allah, Gani. And yet the movement is plainly that of bhakti, devotion. A human standing before the One in humility and trust. So the Rahau begins, Mai Andhule ki tek, tera naam khundkara. Mai garib, mai maskeen, tera naam hai adhara. Rahau. Mai Andhule ki tek, addressing himself as blind and saying, Tera naam khundkara, naam, the wisdom of your name. The wisdom that is woven into our texture. That wisdom is the support of this blind one, Mai Andhule ki tek. He is, of course, speaking for all of us when he says this blind one. And so your wisdom is the steadying wedge beneath the washing board, khundkara. Mai garib, mai maskeen. I am poor, I am lowly. Tera naam hai adhara. Again, that wisdom is my foundation. So the andhula, the blind, is obviously not physical blindness, but perceptual blindness. It is the way we all are. Superficial, mistaking surfaces for depth, mistaking passing attachments for solid ground, and in the process, overlooking the presence of the one that is always there, the wisdom that is always there. So what we need is not a pair of glasses, but to be supported at the right perceptual angle, if you wish, so that we are prevented from falling into every ditch of anticipated fear or of greed that greets us at every turn. And Namdev Ji has given that support, Nam, a name. He's called it khundkara. Now that is from his own trade as a chimba, a dyer of clothing, printing and washing, cleaning soiled cloth. And the way it was done, still is, it's laid on a board and beaten clean. But the board itself is held true by a small wedge driven underneath it. That is the khundkara. That is the way Naam works. It is what allows the board to take the bashing, and yet it is not seen. That is Naam. It is like that small hidden wedge under the board on which a life is scrubbed of its grime. So the cloth is the soiled self, the ego, and the beating is the hard labor of cleansing, and Nam is that unnoticed wisdom beneath that makes this all possible. And then he is Garib, he is Maskeen. So he leans on, what he leans on is a wedge. So Nam is what everything rests upon. It is what is. Difficult to explain, but it is the essence of everything. So what can we finally own, essentially, when we stand in front of the One, the infinite, nothing? What we need to do is lose our illusion of self-sufficiency. The next verse, Karima Rahima Allah tu gani Hazara Hajur Darpes tu mani. Karima, the generous one. Rahima, the merciful one. This is all Islamic vocabulary. Allah, the only one. You are Gani, you are rich. Hajara Hajur. Notice it is not Hazara Hazur, which is the Arabic, but Hajara Hajur, because we don't have the Z sound in the Indian vernacular that was used at the time. So it is Hajara Hajur, ever present, ever at hand. Dar, you stand before me, you're the door, and I see you everywhere. So Anam Dev Ji is calling on the One through the devotional vocabulary of Islam. What that tells us is that the Guru Granth Sahib Ji it never locks this divine vocabulary inside a single community. Whether the tongue is saying Ram or whether it is saying Allah or Khuda is really not the question. That's not the point. The point is, and the question is that name opening your heart or is it hardening into just another badge of belonging? If you recall the previous Sabad, Kabir Ji said, Bed kateb iftara hai pai, dil ka fikr na jai. So the Vedas and the Quran can become grounds of friction. So that's the question you have to ask yourself. What is this name doing to you? Is it opening out your heart or not? That is what you have to bear in mind. Because the one that is being addressed through all these various vocabularies is Hajara Hajur. It is present. It is right there. Everywhere. So it is not posted in a far heaven, nor is it sealed behind some ritual access. What is missing in all of this, in this relationship, is our own presence. We are absent. Our mind, our attention is scattered, and the mind is simply racing ahead. The heart is crowded with worry, while the One waits at the door. The second verse continues, Daryao tu, di hind tu, Daryao tu, di hind tu, Bisyar tu dhani, Deh leh ek tu, digar ko nahi. Daryao, you are the river. The Hind, you are the giver. Tu bisyar, you are cosmic. Tu dhani, you're the master of all wealth. Deh leh ek tu, you are the exchange of giving and receiving. There is no other. Digar ko nahi. Namdev Ji is widening the lens. So the one is not simply standing, but the very current of life. Daryao. It is the nourisher. It is what carries. It is what cuts through. And it gives precisely by moving, keeping nothing back. So reality, to call it a river, is to suggest that reality is not a frozen object of belief, but it is living movement, the current beneath all currents. It is the breath, it is awareness, it is food, it is relationship. Even the capacity to remember is received, not owned. So don't think of yourself as proprietors. We are recipients. We are set beside an abundance that never runs dry. You and you alone. The theme, the refrain continues to the concluding verse. तू दाना तू बीना मैं विचार क्या करी नामे चे स्वामी बकसंद तू हरी तू दाना तू बीना. You're all knowing, you're all seeing. What can I say? Name che Swami, you are Namdev's master. You are Baksant, the forgiving one. You are Hari. So you see, this is Namdev Ji closing in humility. You are the knowing, you are the seeing. What reckoning can I make? This is the discernment. You see, Bakshind is the last word. Not any attainment, but mercy. So we are not seeking perfection. We want to be held by grace. That is the emotional center of this sabad. So Namdev isn't standing there as some sort of a hero, but standing there seeking grace. The man is poor, but the master is rich. The man is blind, but the name is a staff. The man is uncertain, but the one is present. So this is Namdev Ji's Sabad in Telang. And the whole posture suggests to us in a single verb, lean into the one. Don't run. And for that, cultivate humility, the humility to be guided, the openness to receive, and the trust on a forgiving master. This is in contrast to the world we live in, where we are constantly being told to brand ourselves, defend ourselves, stand on our own. The Sabbath offers us a harder and quieter freedom to set the ego's staff down and walk leaning on the wisdom. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.